So today I want to show you how you can make your own custom vehicle. The object we're going to use as a base is a template toy that's available in the featured bar of the templates tab, but you don't need to follow along yet. For now, I just wanted to show you what we're actually intending to do. So if you pull out this Jeep spawner, parking sign, and you hit return to game and you go up and you interact with the sign, it'll spawn the Jeep. And if you interact with the Jeep, you can get in and you can drive around. So the art for this, and even the scripts that control some of its driving behavior and stuff, can actually all be customized. So that's what I thought I'd help you do. In order to make customizing the Jeep a bit easier, I have already broken it apart into a scene that has a little bit of explanations on it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go get a copy of that scene. So if you just go to .bigbang, and then you go down to the latest tab and you can just type in Jeep here. And you'll see my game here. It's Heather Control Z. And it's just make a custom Jeep. So you can go in that one, or you can go directly to my profile, just filter it to games and look for the make a custom Jeep game. Either way, doesn't matter. Now I'm actually, if you'll notice, I'm playing on an alternate account up here at the top that I've made just for doing tutorials so that I can show you how I would remix items, because otherwise I would own them all. Okay, so let's play that Jeep game that we found. Let's hit the remix game button up in the corner here. And that's going to give us a copy all of our own that we can mess with. So we can do whatever here now, and it'll only affect ourselves. Each of these little boxes explains what's going on inside those dotted lines. This one is just a copy of that Jeep I had out earlier to show you how it works, how it spawns, and that's what the default template toy Jeep looks like. But here I say to customize this Jeep, you're gonna need to remix this game, which we just did, and then press stop to follow along. So to stop the game, we have to go into edit mode. So we're gonna do that. And the other thing that we're gonna need to do, if you haven't used this editor a lot, is just turn on advanced mode so that we have more options here. And then we can hit this little stop button. So now that the game isn't running anymore, you'll notice that the Jeep I had spawned out has vanished. The player character isn't showing anymore. Okay, so this is the mode that we need to be in order to edit the Jeep. So let's look at the next little description here. So the first thing we need is a templated wheel voxel object. Okay, so we're going to need that. Then we're going to need to make an antenna. Now this thing here is referencing an antenna object, so we'll have to go get that too. And then we'll need a body art. So we're going to need the art for these things before we can continue. So I've already gone and made a quick video showing remixing and recoloring all that art. So I'll insert that now and then I'll continue. So I sped this part up, but what I did was to find the objects. You can search them under the name Jeepskin, and then I remixed them and gave them all really quick recolors. I just changed red to blue in this case. You can of course make your own objects instead, but then you might have to mess with positions and sizes to get things right. You might have to change a few of the properties on the scripts to get it all working. So just for your first attempt at a vehicle, it might be a good idea to start with the Jeep and then to do a more complicated reskin afterwards. Okay, so I've remixed all that art. It's not showing here because I have to hit refresh on my profile for the new objects to show. But here you go. You can see the game that we remixed, and you can also see the 3 objects I just made. So the blue versions of everything. So we're going to go actually following along the steps. So it says the first thing we need is a templated wheel voxel object that has the DBB spin wheel script on it. So if we just look at this voxel object, it has the script on it, right? And you'll notice that it has some properties here that you could change. It has a wheel diameter and a direction that can be altered. So we don't need to change this because in this case, I'm just recoloring it. But I have changed the voxel object. So I'm just gonna open the voxel object component here, and I'm just gonna set it to my own art. Okay, so I've set it to this blue one. And the next thing I need is, it says it has to be templated. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna change the name of this to blue wheel. And then I'm gonna open the template section and I'm gonna hit new template. Now, every time you make a template, I recommend giving it a name right away. Otherwise you'll have a whole bunch of things called my template and you'll be very confused. So we'll template that, we'll hit save. Then we'll move to the next object. Now, the thing that I'm grabbing here is actually just a placeholder. This isn't what the actual object looks like. If I hit play, oops, sorry, I should have put in the fly cam. Okay, so if I hit play and I look at that antenna, you'll see that's what the one in the game looks like. This one is like wiggly when you pull it around. It's because it's spawning all of these parts and then the parts are moving according to the scripts that's on them. So if I hit stop again, you can see this thing is just a placeholder. But in order to not confuse it with the red version, I'm gonna quickly change the color of this to a blue. Actually, maybe this blue, no, this blue, there you go. And I'll rename it. And then it has a script on it as well, and we need to take a look at the script. So it's the DBB custom segmented chain script. This is the one that takes world position into account. It has these little boxes here where you can select the voxel objects for each segment, and then you can say if you want them scaled or offset at all. So it's using the first three boxes. So we're just gonna go and select the antenna object we made. And we're just gonna put it in each of the first three. If you wanted to make a really long thing or a really short thing, you could do that. And in this, you don't have to use this antenna at all. It's just if you would like to reskin the Jeep, it has an antenna on it, and this is how you make it. So now that I've built that antenna with my own parts, if I hit play, you'll see the red version's gone, and it's now the blue ones. Next, we need to make that a template as well. So we'll go back up into this top entity section, into the template section, go new template, name it, save it. Okay, now we have step 3. So step 3 is going to be this piece of body art, but we're also using the spawn and parent script to attach the antenna. First, we'll switch the body art. We're going to just select the voxel object, change it to your own. See, now it's blue. And then, oops, I should have actually been stopped while I was working on that. It's best on this car if you're in stop mode when you're changing the templates. You'll just get less weird behavior. Okay, we've stopped that. Now we're going to go open up the script. Now, this spawn and parent script, I really recommend you make note of it and use it whenever you need it. It's very useful. It just lets you, when you hit the play button, spawn a second object to attach to your default object. So if you wanted to make, say, a bumblebee with a pair of wings that are attached to it, you can use the spawn and parent script to attach the wing template to it. In this case, though, we're just attaching our antenna, and instead of the red antenna, it's now going to be the blue antenna. Just a note about templates, at least at this current moment in time, you can only select templates you've made yourself. So you can't select all the default, like all the templates that you see that are on these objects by default. They won't show up in your list. You'll have to make your own versions of everything. Okay, so I've selected the antenna. Okay, there we go. We've got the art and the antenna. If we hit play, the antenna is now blue. Now we need to make this a template. So let's rename this one to blue Jeep body. Make it a template. Save it. Now we go to the next step. I did that again. I templated it while the game was running. Bad me. Okay. I've stopped the game now. Really have the game stopped for this one. So you'll notice that when the game is stopped here, it just looks like an icon of a car. And then when you hit play, it becomes the actual car. Okay. That's because it's spawning in this other art that we're making to build the actual final car. So once again, I'm going to change the color of this voxel object. This thing doesn't matter. It's just there so that you can tell you have a car in the scene. and I'm going to turn it blue so I know that this is the blue Jeep. And then I'm going to go and change the properties on the scripts to reference the stuff we just made. The templates that we need to hook up are going to be found on this script that says dbb_simple car networked. Okay. And notice there's other scripts here, right? There's scripts here for positioning that this is the position of the seats. This one's giving the car spatialized audio. This script here is what actually hides this fake car when the game runs. All the scripts are doing something, but the car behavior is coming from this one. You can change all of these values if you're feeling adventurous. You can change how it steers, and you know, you've got your stuff to deal with suspension and ride height and wheel positioning and things like that. Okay, but if you keep scrolling down, you'll eventually find a spot that says wheel template, and then that one's where we put the wheel we made at the very beginning. And then there's a one that says body template, and that's where the one we put the body we just made, the blue body. So now that I've hooked up those templates, I'm gonna change the name of this one too, and then I'm going to make this its own template. And then I'm gonna hit save. Now, the final step is to make the spawner for the vehicle work. So in this case, we just hit this parking sign. We go here and we select the Jeep we just made. The drivable blue Jeep was this final template that we built. So we hit that, and that's good. You can template this sign if you want to be able to bring out lots of them, but you don't have to. If you're just gonna have one in the scene, you can just set the reference here. Another thing that I should call out is this script is just spawning a template when you interact with this sign. So you could change what this sign likes, and you could even change what template this is spawning to something else. You could make it spawn a pet on interact or whatever you want, right? A lot of these scripts are super flexible. You don't have to have spinning wheels, for example. You could take the spin script off the wheel and just have like a thing that looked like a thruster and make something that looked more like a hovercraft. All of this is up to you. You just need to learn to explore the scripts. Okay, so we've plugged in the final script. Let's hit save. Let's go back to the game camera so we can actually run around. So here's the version that was just the body. Here's a version of the Jeep with the antenna and the wheels. And then here is the sign that should, there we go, spawn our Jeep. Now if we get in and drive around, we're driving the blue version. I did miss one thing that I should probably point out. If you take your sign that spawns your blue Jeep and you make the template for it, so let's change the name. And then let's make it into a template. Then you go to your templates bar, change it from featured to mine so it shows your own stuff. And these don't have icons, but they all work fine. We just don't have an icon system in place for this yet. So here's the last one you made. This is the parking sign for the blue Jeep. If we pull it out, we can actually put these little parking spots wherever we like. And then like you could easily scatter them around the map, and your templates, you can pull those out in other games too. So you can make your Jeep in this game and then go put it on whatever your main game is by just templating that parking sign. That's it. That's all there is to it. If you feel adventurous, feel free to poke around and change other things about the scripts. On my other account, I turned it into like a coach, you know, so I gave it big wagon wheels and stuff. Totally doable, totally fun. Can't wait to see what you make.